If you're looking for a barb that's a little bit unusual, the 8-banded barb might be exactly what you are looking for. Hello everyone, this is Charles from the FishLoft. The 8-banded barb is a bit hard to find, but they are seriously underrated. I've kept a wide range of barbs: tiger barbs, cherry barbs, black ruby barbs, and checkered barbs, and you can find care guide links for all of them below. But there are a few key differences that make keeping 8-banded barbs a little unique. Let's start with their appearance. The name 8-banded barb pretty much tells you what to expect. These fish feature a series of thin, vertical black bands running across a golden body, with one band extending up into their dorsal fin. Depending on the individual, those bands can vary quite a bit in contrast and shape. They also have a more elongated body than most barbs, which gives them a very graceful look. They grow to a maximum of about 1.5 inches or around 3.8 centimeters, keeping them firmly in the nano fish category. Males tend to be a bit slimmer than the females. They are not a flashy fish, but they have a clean, classic look that really stands out in a planted tank. These barbs are nothing like any of the other barbs that I have kept. They're much more laid back and can be a bit shy. Because of that, keeping them in a proper group is key. I'd recommend a school of at least 6, but ideally 8 or more. When I first brought mine home from my local fish shop, I set them up in a species-only tank where I thought they'd feel most comfortable. But even after a week, they were still constantly hiding. I thought adding a dither fish might coax them out, so I introduced a school of neon blue rasboras. At first, the rasboras hid too, which was kind of funny. But after a couple weeks, the difference was night and day. The 8-banded barbs became much more confident and started spending all of their time at the front of the tank, and no longer darted away whenever I approached. They're not an especially active fish. Instead, they tend to hover together mid-water, swimming slowly and gracefully as a group. For your tank setup, these guys really do best in a well-planted aquarium that mimics their natural habitat in Southeast Asia, places like Malaysia and Indonesia. I'd recommend at least a 10-gallon or 38-liter tank. You will want to stock the back of the aquarium with plenty of plants so they feel secure, and add some floating plants to help diffuse the overhead lighting. Include driftwood or botanicals like almond leaves or alder cones to release beneficial tannins into the water. They'll also appreciate having some open swimming space up front, along with a gentle water flow. A dark substrate and dark background can help keep things a bit dimmer, which makes them feel more at ease. I'll drop a link below to my step-by-step aquarium build for these barbs if you want to dive a bit deeper. 8-banded barbs definitely prefer things on the softer side, and they demand no ammonia, no nitrites, and low nitrates. Their preferred water parameters include a temperature between 72 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit, or 22 to 26 degrees Celsius, a pH between 5 and 7, and soft water. I have found stability matters more than chasing exact numbers. As long as you keep your tank consistent and fairly close to their preferred water parameters, they should be able to adapt. Mine have been thriving in my tanks that I keep at a temperature of 78 degrees Fahrenheit. I have a pH of 7.5, and I have moderately hard water. I have had my barbs for about 9 months now, and with proper care, you can expect a lifespan of around 3 to 5 years. A good diet, stable water, and low stress will push them towards the higher end of that range. 8-banded barbs can be part of a calm community tank, but you need to be very thoughtful when selecting Tankmates. They will get along well with other small, chill, and peaceful fish. Some of my suggestions include resboras, rainbow fish, tetras, and I think they would get along well with honey gouramis, as well as your cleanup crew. You want to avoid active fish that could stress them out and force them to hide. In my community tank, I keep my barbs with a school of neon blue resboras and a school of smudge spot cories, along with a pair of autocinclus. I also have a couple of amano shrimp and ram's horn snails. Feeding your 8-banded barbs is pretty straightforward. These guys aren't picky, but there are a few things to keep in mind. They're omnivores, so a balanced, varied diet will keep them in top shape. They can be a bit timid at feeding time, so make sure no faster or more aggressive tank mates are outcompeting them. Also, they're similar to my black neon tetras in that they tend to ignore the food sitting on the surface. You'll want to use foods that sink, since they prefer eating in the mid-water column. I feed mine a mix of flakes and micro pellets, and occasionally treat them with frozen foods like Daphnia and baby brine shrimp. It's also a good idea to mix in some plant-based options like spirulina flakes to round things out. I feed my fish once a day, 6 days a week, only what they can finish in about 2 minutes. That 1 day off gives their digestive systems a bit of a reset. I get a lot of questions about what I exactly feed my fish, so I will leave a link below to my go-to fish foods. I am not a breeder, but it is possible to breed 8-banded barbs. It's just not something that usually happens by accident in a community tank. You'll want to set up a tank with fine-leaved plants or spawning mops. Slightly raising the temperature can help trigger spawning. They'll scatter their eggs among the plants, and once that happens, you'll need to remove the adults or the spawning mops, since they'll happily eat their own eggs. The eggs will hatch within a couple of days. You can feed the fry infusoria, then move up to baby brine shrimp as they grow. The 8-banded barb might not be the most available barb in the hobby, but it's one of those fish that are worth seeking out. If you've kept this fish before, I'd love to hear your experience. And if you're thinking about adding them to your tank, hopefully this gave you a solid starting point. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. This is Charles, and I will see you next time here at the FishLoft.